back to Worship Leader Wednesday, a series from worship tutorials where we help you become a better worship leader right now. And if you want to go deeper as a worship leader, we have a product out there. It's an online course called the Worship Manual. Volume 1 is available now. It's over 50 videos, over 9 hours of content where Fuller and I help you just basically kickstart your career in ministry as a worship leader. Links below. But today we're talking about why you can't recruit new musicians.
As we talk, I want to encourage you to put the weapons down.
Oh boy.
Okay? Because so many times we have so many excuses.
Yeah.
Okay? I have them. You have them.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is in life that we're not finding success in it, the first reaction is to have tons of excuses.
Yeah.
Okay? So when we say these things,
Yeah.
your first reaction might be like, oh, well, not me, or that's not, but just be open-minded, right?
Yeah.
Not all of them might apply to you, but I'm just, based on, 12 years of ministry, watching lots and knowing lots of people and talking to lots of other worship leaders at churches, here are some of the things I think that we've distilled down that could possibly be one of your problems.
Yeah, one of maybe the greatest role that you have vocationally as a worship leader is to build and lead teams.
Yes.
So if you are not constantly thinking to yourself, how can I recruit more volunteers or musicians or production volunteers to be on my team, then that needs to become like number one priority for you as a worship leader.
Yeah.
Because your ministry will live and die by how well you can lead these teams. So now that we've established that if you're not recruiting volunteers actively all the time, you should be. Yeah. I think a lot of people know that, and a lot of people think to themselves, I don't know how. Not that I don't know how, but I don't know what to do. I'm a church of 50 people or 150 people or 3,000 people. It doesn't matter. Yeah. How do I recruit volunteers? What's holding me back from doing this?
Yeah, and I think one mindset that we gotta break, okay, and this might hurt, but you gotta break this way of thinking.
Yeah.
A bigger church has more access.
It's easier.
It's
not true.
Oh, well, you're a big church. You can easily find 8 guitar players. Listen, that is small thinking. That is not... Successful people don't think like that. It's an excuse.
And it's not true necessarily.
And it's just not true. Almost everyone that I know that's at a large church started at a small church and had the same success there that they have at
why that church grew.
It does not matter your resources, your environment, the size of your church. It changes things. It changes the way you approach stuff. But the reality is, get past, well, our church is small, we can't have a drummer. Yeah. Because that's, if you think like that, you'll never have what you need.
And also, I want to interject and say too, please don't understand us as saying that the reason churches grow is because of what we do. And that's part of it. And assume that what we're saying is God doesn't play a part of it. Oh, certainly God grows his church and the Holy Spirit moves and things, supernatural things happen. But you also can't just sit back and just say, God, please grow my church, and then do nothing and expect it to happen. Yeah.
Because it's funny, it's like the old saying goes, the harder I work, the luckier I get, right? It's like, pray like it all depends on God, work like it all depends on you.
Yeah, we are not discounting God's favor and the move of God, the move of the Holy Spirit when it comes to church growth. Yeah. But if you don't lead well, your church won't grow. Yeah. And part of what we're to do as leaders to glorify God and to do what God has called us to do is to lead our churches as well as possible. Just wanted to say that before.
So there you go. That's the end of the video. Have a great.
So why aren't they and us? Why can't we churches recruit volunteers? What's holding us back?
And I ask myself every time I find myself needing musicians. Yeah. I ask myself this question. So this is not us telling you what to do. This is me telling myself.
Oh, we live this.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. The first thing is we're not desperate enough. Okay? What does that mean? It means that for a lot of us, okay is enough.
Yeah.
Okay?
We get lazy.
I don't know how, I don't know what the percentage is, but I would bet everything I own that it's extremely high, above 65%, churches in America that use the same musicians every week. Yeah. Okay? I rarely talk to people, and here we'll go small church, large church here. Almost everyone I know that's at a large church does not use the same musicians every week, except the churches that pay their musicians, which is a totally different topic. Let's throw that off the table for now.
Yeah.
It's not in the same, it's apples and oranges. Almost everyone I talk to that works at a church or serves at a church of 200 or less, always the same musician.
Yeah.
And it's not because of the size of the church. It's because of the mindset of the person.
It's the size of the mindset.
It's the size of the mindset. And you are just not desperate enough. Because if you have 5 people that meet your needs, you get very comfortable.
And it becomes like there's a lot of chemistry that gets built.
You build like your buddies.
Like your band,
yes.
Which is a great thing.
It's awesome. But if you stay thinking like that,
you're gonna burn
you'll always have that.
up.
And then what happens is your drummer leaves, and guess what? You get desperate.
Yeah.
You get desperate. Now you're like the walls are falling down and the place is on fire because you're desperate. And so my point is you're not desperate enough. You have to have the mindset of not and throw out I need more musicians. Throw out that. It is not about needing people. It's not about needing musicians. It is about using your leadership to help God's people plug into ministry, which then enriches and adds value to their life.
Yes.
And so for every musician we're not recruiting, we're robbing them of an opportunity that God could use them to serve His kingdom.
That's really good. Why don't you say that again? Because I think it's worth hearing one more time. This is important.
Every musician that I don't recruit is missing out on an opportunity that God would use. I don't know about you, Brian, but worship ministry has changed my life.
Yeah.
Serving at a church has strengthened my faith. It's opened my mind. It's taught me all of these things. If the guy who asked me to lead worship when I was in high school didn't ask me, I can't even imagine how different my life would be.
Right.
And so because he recruited me, it put me into a situation where God used me, and God used that situation to grow me in my life. And so it's not about needing a guitar player. It's about having the opportunity to connect the dots for people.
Yeah.
And so you have to change your mindset. Stop looking at it as, I need a guitarist.
Yeah.
No, you have a guitarist. Your job is to now get them plugged into ministry.
Right.
And so that's number one is you just got to get more desperate.
Yeah.
And realize that you need something that you don't even need.
Yeah. And you also have to understand that the guitar player who you have no idea they play and they may be awesome, sitting in your congregation sees a guitar player on stage every week and thinks these people don't need me.
They don't need me.
That is true.
Yep.
The reality is you do need them because your guitar player that plays every week needs a break.
Yes.
And if you don't give them a break, a year from now, 6 months from now, next week maybe, who knows, they're going to come to you and say, I got it, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm so tired and burned out.
No one ever steps down, they just leave.
I work 80 hours, 60 hours a week, 40 hours, whatever. I have a family, I have all the, and like this burden, I have to take a break.
And that's a perfect transition into point number 2, which is you may be valuing the wrong thing. Okay, so again, do you value having a rhythm guitar player or do you value people? Right? And it works both ways. If you're using the same musicians every Sunday, I'm sorry, you're not valuing people.
Right.
Okay?
You're abusing them.
No matter what they say, no matter what you think, that is not healthy. Okay? And I have decades of evidence to back up what happens eventually.
And a long line of people who left poorly.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like, I can't do this anymore, I'm done.
I think half the people on our team right now come from a church that they got burned out because they had to serve every week. And so you got to value the people. And in order to value people, you got to have a healthy rotation. Now, that's different based on your environment and your culture and your situation. But every week, week in, week out, 52 weeks a year, not healthy. And I will tell you, I think it's poor leadership to do that. Yeah. Plus, you're robbing the congregation. So you're not valuing the person that's on your team, and then you're also not valuing, like we just talked about, the opportunity that someone else could have to experience doing
serve.
ministry.
Yeah.
And so it works both ways. You gotta value that. So it might take a shift in value. You can't just value sounding like the album. Or I value playing with my friends.
Or having that position filled every week.
That's not the priority.
So the last point, and this might be actually the biggest one that people struggle with in the back of their mind. Maybe it's not like something that you say, "Oh yeah," but like when you really think about it, this comes into play, and that is the fear of losing control as a leader, as a worship leader in charge of teams. If I bring in more people, I'm going to lose control. Yeah. Because leading musicians is like herding cats.
It's that.
So what do you mean by this, Fuller?
Well, I think that, let's think through the lens of humility, right? What if I bring on a guitar player that's way better than me?
Or not.
Or way worse than me.
Maybe they're not
great,
way worse. Maybe they're great, but they're like never on time.
So there's a philosophy in any organization, growth versus control, right? It's this tension, this balance. The more control you have, the less you grow. Okay. Because I'm controlling everything. I make all the decisions. I am the lid, as John Maxwell calls it. Then there's this idea of, well, if you let go of all the control, you're going to experience massive growth. Yeah. Right? Because if you just, hey, you want to do it? Yeah, you do that, you do this, you do that, but then it's chaos.
A hot mess.
Right, so you grow, but you've lost total control. Yeah. So the idea is to balance growth versus control. And most musicians, let's be honest, because I struggle with this, I'm a control freak, dude. Yeah. I like controlling things. But in order to really grow your team, you've got to let go of some control. Okay. Not all control, but some control. And that might mean, hey, I met this drummer and he's amazing. He's been playing for 30 years, but his background is jazz. So guess what? Every song you play...
So he plays a lot of wrong notes?
He plays outside the box. It's going to have a slight jazz vibe.
Different. Yeah.
And you got to go... That's okay.
A lot of brushes.
Yeah. And so you're going to go through this period where you're tweaking it, teaching him, learning. Every musician goes through this. You might have a guitar player that is a 80s metal shredder. Yeah. And there's going to be this process in which you have to help them kind of tweak their sound and kind of fall into the vibe. And in that process, you're just going to feel like you have no control. And the same with vocalists. You might here's something. What if you recruit a vocalist that's way better than you? Oh boy. Which is very likely to happen.
Now insecurity.
Very likely. This happens to me all the time.
Yeah, me too.
And so it's like Christmas rolls around.
What we're saying is we're not that great.
Yeah. And guess what? Neither are you probably. When Christmas rolls around and it's time to do this song, right? Yeah. And then I got this dude, like, he's gonna destroy it. Yes. And I gotta go, but it's Christmas, and I always sing the Christmas song. Right. But now I go, do I want control or growth? Because guess what? You do it same as normal, everything's normal. Yeah. You throw it over to them, and it's a home run. Yeah. And people are like, dang.
So here's a gut check if this happened. Like, if you let somebody else lead, if you're the leader, and you let somebody else lead, and they kill it, and in your heart,
there's no way you could have done it.
There's no way you could have done it like that. How do you feel? Yeah. Do you feel jealous? Yeah. Because of the fact that they got the spotlight, that people are coming up to them and saying, "Oh, that was awesome. That really blessed me.
This guy used to be good, but you're way better."
Do you feel jealous, and that is perfectly normal and human? Yeah. Or do you feel like
proud?
I'm so happy that this person got to put their gifts that God gave them on display and like use the church. The church was able to worship and God used them. So how do you feel? Maybe it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. And it probably will be at the beginning, especially.
But you need to fight that jealousy, selfishness, and it's something especially musicians struggle with this. And trust me, it's stuff that Fuller and I have felt before. Yeah. But you have to come to a point as a leader where you can let somebody else shine. Yeah. And you can just, all you feel is happy for them.
And proud.
And happy for your ministry that it's growing.
Values.
In way. Yes.
What do you value?
Yeah. What do
you value the end result? Mm-hmm. Or do you value the way you feel more?
Yeah.
You know, and it's a tough thing. But here's the other cool thing that happens. When that happens, everyone else in the congregation that's a killer singer, now they go, oh, I could get up there and do that too now, because it's not just this one-man show.
This is a place that values
the gifting. Yes.
The gifting that people
have.
Yeah,
and that happens a lot with, and this is a bonus tip, but when you use the same band every week, you create what's called territorialism. So your drummer now thinks this is his gig, this is his drum set, this is his, and if a new drummer comes in, you've spent 3 or 4 years with this guy, of course he's gonna feel, oh, they're taking this away from me.
Yeah.
And that's a very difficult bridge. You don't want that. When you create systems of teams and rotations, then you got, I love our team because whenever we recruit a new drummer, I have one drummer, John, he's a coach.
He basically just brings them in.
Oh, dude, he brings them in. They do coffee. They'll work together. And he gets lit up like a Christmas tree that he can mentor and pour into somebody instead of, oh, I heard we got a new drummer. Does that mean I need to find a new church now?
Yeah.
What? Honestly,
he's gonna retune my drums.
Which one of those situations do you want on your team?
Right.
You know. And what else is great is when you have a drummer that's sick, you just go, oh, I got a list of 3 other guys I can call, and they're happy to do it. Take our advice with a grain of salt. But if there is one thing I would say that's extremely important, if you're struggling recruiting musicians, heed this advice and give it a shot.
Right.
Because you will see some massive changes.
And almost all of these tips are not they're heart issues, really.
That's true when you think about it.
They really are. And it's about, and now the work begins.
Yeah.
How do I actually do this?
Yeah.
And that's a video for another day.
There is.
Actually, that's Worship Manual Volume 2 that we're
absolutely are. And also, Jake Goslin and I just did a podcast a couple weeks ago. At Churchfront, and Jake asked a lot of questions about this, and we dug real deep into this idea of what happens when someone else steals your thunder. How do you but that is you gotta break that to get to this next level of leadership, and then once you do, it unlocks this whole nother area of what you now can spend your time doing. Stuff that's actually enjoyable and fun. So check that podcast out.
We'll link to it below. And you also gotta realize, if you're dealing with that pride issue, God is going to humble you.
And my wife always prays, Lord, humble me gently.
And it's
not, because if it's not
going to be fun.
You
know what I mean?
The Lord opposes the proud.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're in leadership of God's church, and you're leading from a sense of pride and lack of humility. That's not a place you want to be.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're leaving it on this.
I don't know. That's depressing.
So don't do that.
Yeah. So hey, just don't do it. Yeah. And you'll see the opposite. Your ministry will flourish.
Yeah.
And you'll get to see people really. You're gonna see people growing in their faith because now they have the opportunity to serve.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you want to join the conversation, we're going to post these videos over in the WT Leaders group on Facebook. Link below if you want to join that group, become part of that community. Leave your comments here on YouTube as well. We love to hear from you. We love to just, whatever's on your heart, let us know. We can take it.
We can take it. Trust. Punch me right here as hard as you can. Go ahead.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.